What's up, guys? This is Bobby Douglas, and we are back again today with another 2020 NBA Draft Prospect full game video breakdown. And today we're going to be looking at Michigan State forward Xavier Tillman. Tillman is a junior. He just finished his junior season. He seems to be on the fence about going pro or not. A lot of people have him mocked in the late first to mid second range. Right now, I have him, I believe, 37th on my big board. And I like him as just a person, first of all. I think he has a natural gravity to him. You know, his smile lights up a room. I do scouting reports for all these players before I do videos on them. And the first drink that I have for Tillman is that he's just a high character guy. He's always smiling. I really think he could be just a morale booster in the NBA. Everybody seems to like him, you know. So I like that personality aspect of him. I think that's a real strength of his. Other than that, I mean, he's a strong body defender again, 6'8", 245 pounds, which is he's built. You know, he can bang down low. He's not super quick on the perimeter, but he can certainly defend in spots out there. And then he's just a rebounding monster. He averaged 10 rebounds a game this year. And again, he carves out space really well on both ends, uses that thick frame to get into position well. In the game we're going to watch today, he plays Wisconsin, and he only scored 7 points, and he only shot 3 of 15 from the field. But he did a lot of other things that I think really emphasize what I think his value is in the NBA. So in this game, he only had 7 points, again, on 3 of 15 shooting, which is not good. He is a 55% field goal shooter for this past season. So this is an atypical game for him on that level, right? But he had 14 rebounds. He had 5 assists. He had a block and a steal. He's a hustle guy. He's a really smart player. His passing is something that's really, really underrated. He averaged 3 assists a game. But again, compare that to 2 turnovers a game, and you're looking at a 1.5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio. And for somebody his size who plays that wing forward position, right? I want to stress how rare that is to see in college basketball. We're looking at all these players, and they all have negative assist to turnover ratios. Patrick Williams didn't have a positive one. Jaden McDaniels didn't have a positive one. Jalen Smith didn't have a positive one. James Wiseman didn't have a positive one. Onyeka Okongwu, not a positive assist to turnover ratio. So for Tillman to be basically playing a 4-5 in a more traditional 4-5, to average 3 assists to only 2 turnovers, I think is a really, really incredible feat. So make sure you watch out for his passing in this game. And that's about it for my intro. Again, didn't really shoot the ball very efficiently this game. But I do think he offers a lot of things for potential NBA teams looking to draft him. So let's get right into it. I'll make this full screen. And here we go. He's going to be number 23 in green. So he's taking the tip-off against Nate Reavers against Wisconsin. So he's tipping off right here. Let's see if he gets this. He wins this. Won the tip. It's pretty solid. Again, he's only 6'8", 245, so he's an undersized 4'5", right? But again, look at him carving out space against a thinner but taller Nate Reavers. Again, right there, he's usually very good at finishing with both hands. Again, I think he could be really devastating in pick and roll situations because 1, he's a really good screener with that thick frame, and 2, he's a really good passer. So out of the short roll, I think he could really, really do some damage in 3-on-2 situations or even in fast break situations. So right there, they use him at the high post. And again, so he's going to be on Nate Reavers here. And, he's Wisconsin's stretch 5. So again, now he's on the perimeter. So now he's switched. Again, right there, you want to maybe see him go over that screen, but he probably was anticipating a switch with Winston there. So nothing you could really do about that except maybe talk a little bit better. So again, he's just carving out space again. Let's see what he does here. Good pass to Winston, and then he'll repost. Good kick out. Michigan State lost this game 64-63, I believe. So this is a loss for Michigan State. I couldn't really find a whole lot of Spartans games. I didn't want to show the Georgia one again because I'm saving that one for Cassius Winston because he played really well in that game. So, and obviously Aaron Henry will get a video as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. But I thought Tillman, despite his poor shooting in this game, I thought this game really emphasized his well-rounded ability out of the post. and just all of the traits that he can bring to an NBA roster. So right there, he's had a little double. Let's see what he does here. Again, so that's his shot, and he missed that one. Again, 3 of 15 from the field this game. He was only a 26% three-point shooter with a 67% free throw percentage, which isn't great, obviously. And I'm not really expecting him to get a jump shot necessarily until much later in his career if he makes it that far in the NBA. This is where I do think another year at Michigan State would really help him. I think if he can come back, work on his three-point shot, work on his free throws, things like that, I do think that would help him a whole lot. So right there, he kind of got lost in translation right there. It looked like Malik Hall should have been helping down low. But again, another year I think would help him, but I'm going to guess he stays in the draft. So I'm not quite sure what he'll do, but my guess is that he stays in the draft. So again, he's guarding just in the post right now. This is a pretty tough cover for him because Rivers is a really good three-point shooter for Wisconsin, and he'll stretch the floor. So right there, you saw, again, not the most comfortable guy with the ball in his hands in terms of dribbling in the open floor. He's pretty calm with the ball in the post and in the half court. But again, open court dribbling, he's not super strong in that. Good rebound right there. He kind of flew in for that. But again, he's more of a traditional big man, you know. So again, now he's on Nate. That time it was a pretty good screen from a lean forward on Tillman. So right there, that's a tough shot. Rivers was out pretty far, so he had a longer way to recover. And again, he doesn't really have great length. I think he's more of an intangibles guy in the NBA more than anything that he does on the court. You know, he's a guy that's not gonna, cause any issues in the locker room. I think he's gonna work really hard, and I think he does bring enough to the table to carve out a career in the NBA. Right there again, missed a shot. Did a good job fighting for that second chance, though. We got a foul and a media timeout here, so I will skip ahead. I believe he's out for a little bit. Yeah, so I'll skip ahead to 9:57 when he comes back in. All right, so Tillman's back in again, number 23 in green. I think positionally, in terms of off-ball defense and just knowing where he is on the court in relation to the ball and his man, I think he's very good in that regard. Again, I think he's a high intelligence player, and again, he just screams NBA veteran, and he's only a junior in college, which I think is pretty cool. So right now he's on a lean forward, who's kind of a wing type player. So again, moves his feet well, not super quick, but does a good job just staying in front. That's a tough shot that Ford just made. But again, he's a very fundamentally sound defender, I think, even though he's not the quickest or the fastest or the tallest or the most athletic. So let's see, Michigan State's running horns right here. And again, they trust. So a lot of times they'll do that where they'll just flash Tillman into the high post off a ball screen, and then they'll let him distribute. That's something they'll do often. And again, they trust him with the ball in his hands. He almost reminds me, you think of the classic big man passers where they just stand and just pick apart defenses. I look at guys like Joakim Noah is an example of that, where he would just stand at the free throw line and just wait for cutters and then just hit them right on the money. That's kind of what Xavier Tillman reminds me of. Obviously, uh, not as good as Joakim Noah, but I think that's something that he's very capable of doing in the long run. Then you look at, a guy. I'm trying to think of other big guys that just pick apart people. Jokic is another one that kind of does that. Let's see what he does here. Again, good job recognizing the double team. And, yep, Lawyer's going to hit that. Really good job reverse pivoting out of that double team and finding the open man on the top of the key. But, yeah, I do think Tillman definitely has that passing ability. Draymond Green's another one. Where that just ability to just find cutters and just hit them without really moving a lot with the ball yourself. Good screen set by Tillman right there. And there's another jump shot made for Foster Lawyer. That should be a screen assist for Tillman. Set a really good screen, got Lawyer open. And he made the shot. So again, he's almost not really a box score guy because a lot of his passes won't result in assists. And you saw another really good box out right there, and he somehow got that rebound. He boxes out, he sets really good screens, makes good passes. So a lot of his numbers, I think, understate the importance to an NBA team that he could have, especially to Michigan State. He averaged a double-double, and I still don't think his numbers did him enough justice for how good he was for this team. Another really, really good pass leads to a foul for, I think that's Marcus Bingham Jr., right? So again, you saw that right there. We'll see it right here. Bang. Quick read, knows exactly where everyone is on the floor. And again, he doesn't get the assist for that, but he gets his teammate free throws. So I really like Tillman as a passer. I think he's probably the best big man passer in the draft. Unless I'm forgetting somebody obvious, but I really think he's the guy for this draft, I would say, where I really like his overall passing ability. And again, you could see him talking. He's calling out all these screens. He's done that on both ends so far. He's called out sets on offense. And then on defense, he's making sure everyone's matched up. I think he's mature beyond his years as well. He has a wife. He has 2 kids. He's a family man. I think he's just a very level-headed kid. I don't see people like that failing in the NBA. It's hard for me to envision Tillman not having a good NBA career. So he's operating in the low post right now. See, that's a shot he'll normally make. And again, you kind of see he's just bullying Nate Ruvers like he's bigger and thicker than him. Good job covering on that screen. Again, staying down, staying disciplined right there. He does have a tendency to bite for pump fakes, but that's something he'll work on. I think Wisconsin gets more players from Minnesota than they do Wisconsin. I'm really starting to think that. I think Davison's from Minnesota. Ruvers is. So again, it looks like they're going to a horn again. Another good screen. He made contact. Let's see what he does here. Good ball screen. He's going to get an open 3. Let's see if he hits it. That's tough. Again, it just wasn't a good shooting night for him. But again, he's very fun to watch play, regardless of whether or not he's hitting shots. Because he just can read defenses with his eyes alone. Again, he plays really hard. Doesn't have many lapses. And again, if he returns next year, he'll be Michigan State's top guy. I don't think he returns, but I think it would help him to return. I'm not suggesting he go one way or the other. So right there, again, another good screen. Oh, he's there. Yeah, finish it. Again, see, it's just one of those days. He can't get anything going to go in. And again, he's not the most vertical athlete. He's not really a great athlete. He's a good, not great athlete, but again, in terms of verticality, he's not super good. Again, he's only 6'8", so that hurts him in that regard too. So I'm not sure how often or how efficiently he can get his good block right there from Tillman. That's a really good play. But, I don't know how often he'll get his shots up against NBA people or get his shots off. You saw another good screen set by him there as well. That freed up Gabe Brown, I believe that is. And again, that's another good deflection. But Michigan State scored 11 points in the first 12 minutes of this game, so it looks like it's a cold shooting night for everybody. That's what happens against Wisconsin a lot of the time just because of their slow pace of play. Oh, that's such a... Just a disclaimer, Wisconsin's like my least favorite college basketball program, just in general. I didn't like them when they had Frank Kaminsky and those guys. And then I went to Marquette for a year, and then obviously Marquette's biggest rival in basketball is Wisconsin, so I just never liked Wisconsin as a program, and I think they all flop, so, that's just a little disclaimer. So again, they keep on running this horn set where they will have, so again, Tillman's the screener here, and what he'll set a flare screen for the guy on the other side of the horn, and then he'll set a ball screen going the same way. So he's an integral part of this offense without really touching the ball at all. And then he'll flash in the high post and see if he can read people. Again, right there, that's another tough shot from Nate Rubers right there. I mean, that's NBA range, and Tillman is going to struggle getting out that far. So that's another thing on defense where in ball screens, pick and pop, stretch fives, I'm not really sure he can handle himself like that out there. But again, I bank on his attitude, his intangibles, and things like that to help get him through. So again, another ball screen right there. They had him. I think Winston might have had Tillman on the lob right there. Tillman in the post, high post right now. And he's hedging and dropping. And again, so Rivers is trying to post up on him. Tillman's having none of that. He's fronting him. Rivers tried to throw an arm at him, and Tillman just swallowed that up, and then he got in front. Denied any post entry that he could have had. Again, he's definitely a guy who can hold his own on the blocks. You talk about people who aren't really physically developed to hang on the blocks, right? Tillman's not one of those guys. He's an old college player. Here we go. He's an old college player. His body's formed really well. Strong, smart, savvy, So again, right there, Rivers. So that should have been a foul on Nate Rivers right there. He hooked Tillman in the back. And I think they got called for an offensive foul instead. I think it was on the ball. Good job staying down, but again, you can see the foot speed's not entirely there. Good job getting that rebound and fighting Winston on the break. Cassius Winston's another guy like Xavier Tillman. Michigan State was full of them this year. Where I can't see them failing in the NBA. So again, right now he's on Demetric Trice, I want to say that is. And that's a guard, but then he switched back onto Nate. We got an and one here. I believe he is... No, we still got a little bit of time before he comes back in. So Tillman's out on the three-point line. That's something where I don't really see him. So I do think it'll be hard for a guy like Tillman to start in the NBA just because of the league's value on spacing and shooting and things like that. But I think he could be a very capable rotation player for an NBA team. We got a foul here. Michigan State's not in the bonus, but and in terms of comparisons, I am not a huge fan of making player comps just because they're hard for me to do. But if I had to pick, I would say he's kind of like a poor man's Paul Millsap, or maybe a Rasheed Wallace without the attitude. Somewhere around there, just those undersized fours that just are able to bang down low. And obviously Rasheed Wallace could do a lot more, and so can Paul Millsap now. But early stages Paul Millsap, where he's more on the block, I think that's kind of a comparison I have for Xavier Tillman. But a poor man's version of that. I don't think he'll be as good as those guys. And that's not a knock, but just that's what I see in terms of comparisons, though. So again, he's guarding a lean forward, it looks like, because Wisconsin went small. Tough play. He had to come over and help. Couldn't really do much. That's Micah Potter, I believe, who transferred from Ohio State, I want to say. Ooh, they might have had Tillman on the roll there. They got to travel on the media timeout, and then Tillman's out for a little bit here, so I'll skip ahead to 31-22 is when he comes back in for, I think, the last minute or so of the first half. So again, Tillman right there. So you just see him. So right there, he was on top of the key. Wasn't even a threat to move, and they still had to just be aware of what he was going to do with the ball in terms of passing it. Ended up hitting a curler, or didn't really get anywhere. But again, that's the type of impact I think he does have, where he can be a standstill passer and just pick guys apart. And that's something you don't really see a lot of in this class. The solid passing big men, Again, right there, perfect awareness. Let's see if he hits it. He does. Again, that's just really good awareness. He knew immediately that Rocket Watts was right behind him. Nice little handoff into a wide open three, and Watts rewards him with the made three. Again, good hands right there. Stayed in front. Got the steal ultimately, or didn't get the steal. Got the deflection that led to a steal, but then Michigan State turned it over again. Last 30 seconds of the first half. And again, I don't think he scored. And look at how great he's played. He hasn't scored. I think he's like 0 of 6 or 0 of 7 from the floor, and he's still making a ton of impact on the floor. You can't say that about a lot of guys in this class. Good box out right there. Made shot, but Ruvers had no chance of getting that rebound. Yeah, okay. So that's the first half right there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really like Tillman as a prospect just because of all the little things he does. He's a glass eater. He can pass really well. And again, this is a bad shooting night for him. But look at how impactful he was on the game without scoring. So, I really like him. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back for the second half of this game where he actually does score some points. So that's good. And yeah, we'll see you then. Thank you guys for watching, and we will be back soon.